was Blue, Lou and the Monkey. Oh, did I catch you out? Busy
I'm busy with the interaction.
I know, I'm so sorry. Intuition High was the name of that particular track. And speaking of intuition, are you there? Mikki Saint-Germain, are you there?
Yes, I am. How are you?
We're fine, thank you, and we've been looking forward to this particular session. I hope you have.
Oh my gosh, yes, I have. Thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this all week.
Well, we've had some good response, and obviously we've subheaded this as why do we limit ourselves? So how would you like to open that up, please, Mikki?
Well, we have had a great response because I opened it up on your Nighthawk page, your Hawke friends. And, oh my gosh, we had comments and stories, and people just responded even through Twitter. So we had quite a few people interacted with us with questions that it was great because even though they were from different sections of the world and different backgrounds and different ages, it really came down to a lot of the same questions, you know, because we limit ourselves, and when you think about it, no matter where we're from, we're all human, so we're all experiencing the same emotions. So thank you for everybody that did interact and ask questions, and we can't get to everybody, but we do have I kind of limited it down to the one that was asked the most, or the two that were asked pretty much the most that we could discuss tonight.
So, where do you want to start off with? You have your own story first, haven't you? Yes.
Yes, well, it actually kind of ties in. Kenny in Virginia Beach asked, limitations are set by fear, and how do we get over them? And that is probably the biggest challenge, I think, when we do set limitations. And just to give you an example, they come in different sets and different stories, and everybody has their own reasons, but it really comes down to is why. Why do we put stipulations on why we can't do something or rationalize it? And sometimes we miss out on things, and that becomes very difficult to look back on and go, oh my gosh, I wish I had. And there was a time when my daughter was very small, and she was at a daycare, and I went to go pick her up after work, and it was pouring rain. I mean, just torrential downpouring. You're very familiar with that?
Yes, we have our rainfall here, most second nature to us.
I call it liquid sunshine.
How lovely, yes.
So I went to pick her up. Here I am. I worked at an office at the time, so I was actually in a suit and heels and, in definite, the office attire. And so I had her park around back, which was, oh my gosh, that was quite a walking distance to get to the front around to the daycare I needed to pick her up. So I was like, well, I waited for it to lighten up a little bit, and I realized it wasn't going to happen. I didn't have an umbrella, so I threw my jacket over my head, ran in to get her. So I go to get her. Now it's just like, you get those sections where it's raining, but then it's really, really pouring. Well,
yes, we know all about that. Yes.
Well, it was pouring. So I'm waiting with her by the door, and so are other children, and you could see other parents coming in and trying to run between the raindrops, and she was so excited. She was like, Mom, it's raining. She goes, look, it's raining. I'm like, I know, it's raining. And she goes, let's go. And I'm like, let's wait a second. Let's wait until it lightens up a little bit, and then we'll go. And I couldn't rationalize that with her. Before I knew it, she was out the door. She was like, let's go. And out she went. And I'm like, I went out after her. And here it is, it's pouring. Well, I went to grab her hand to take her and go, come on, let's go. She's like, no. And she stood fast. She would not move. And she threw her head back, and she's feeling the rain on her face, and she's twirling and stomping in mud puddles. And by now I'm soaked, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so grateful that I realized this at the time. I was like, look how happy she is. And I'm like, why am I not enjoying this? Why am I looking at this? So I stood with her, and we danced, and we skipped. We skipped all the way back to the car, and you could see the parents that were waiting inside the doorway. And I know some more, they were just looking at me, and I know, I'm hoping that the looks on their faces were, oh my gosh, this woman's crazy, or they were thinking, and I have to wonder how many of them went, wow, you know what, why am I not not embracing this moment?
Yes.
And, Terry, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did, because I look back on that moment, and I would have missed that.
Yeah.
I would have missed that because I would have set a limitation on myself that said, oh my gosh, don't get wet, and I'm in a suit, and I'm in my heels, and, my daughter's in she's soaking wet. And I'm like, what was the worst case scenario? We got wet.
Yeah.
It was, and it created such an amazing memory. And I think to answer the question is like, why do we set up these fears? We create these fears, and of course, you probably have heard it, or your listeners have heard it, is, fear is basically false evidence appearing real. We fabricate it. We fabricate and justify why we should fear something that really doesn't have any solid foundation, but we've believed it for so long that we've created it as a limitation, and it becomes steadfast in us. We have to stop and go, well, why not? Why wouldn't I do that?
Well, I think it's very true. I mean, the same with the fear of flying, isn't it? Some people are terrified to actually go and fly in an aeroplane or whatever it is, etc. And it takes a lot of, say, nerve to overcome that fear. And in the end, usually when they've experienced it, they actually love it and think, what was the big deal? I'm flying now.
Yep. And that's it. You know what? But I applaud those people that take that one step, that little step. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just doing one little thing differently. Eleanor Roosevelt said, do one thing every day that scares you. And it's, it could be just something very simple that you want to do towards your goal, but you're like, why have I not done this? What's holding me back? Has it been somebody's opinion that thought something of me, or was it something I didn't, that happened in my past, and it didn't work out, so I'm afraid to take that next step. And that's what happens sometimes, even, in relationships. They, once bitten, twice shy. And then, people are afraid, but you have to understand every circumstance is different, and nothing's ever the same. You're different, you're dealing with different people in a different environment, and the only outcome that you're really going to create is the one that you keep making in that direction based on your limitations.
So what should we do? Should we make a list, write on the mirror your fears, and then cross them off one by one, Mikki, or what?
Honestly, I would say that the best thing to do is, if it's something that you really would like to do, if it's something where you really want to, let's say, go for a new job or try something new. My thought would be, take the first step and do it. And sometimes you're going to be put in situations where you're going to go, oh my gosh, I can't do that. Well, why not? Is it you can or you won't? And then if you say, okay, I won't, why am I not willing to? And I had an event at one point where I was put in charge, and this was a long time ago. I was actually put in charge of doing a demonstration. This was for a fitness center.
Oh, yeah.
And it was in New York, yeah. Now, this is when we taught aerobics, before all the other things actually had special names. It was just kind of lumped into dancing to music and moving and burning calories.
I got you. I've watched it.
Yeah. So I was doing this event for this fitness center. Well, the gal that was supposed to be the head of it called in sick that day. She was extremely ill. And they said, the routine, you do it. And I was like, oh my gosh. Well, this was actually inside a mall, and it was, it was like an indoor mall, but it was in one of the stores, and it was actually in their fitness area. So they had cleared out an area that would allow us to do this routine, because they wanted to bring in their fitness stuff incorporated with what we were doing. So they turn on the music, it's going great, I'm just winging it, I knew the routine, I was fine. Well, there was, for as many of us that were, the way we actually categorized us and lined up each of us up, there was very little room. So I had to kind of work it out where I could still be in front and work everybody through and get people to join in.
Yeah.
Well, during the routine, I stepped back and I crashed into a clothing rack.
Oh, dear, Mikki.
Well,
you were hung up to dry after you got wet, yeah.
It wasn't bad enough up that I fell into the rack. I'm laughing because as I'm getting up, I'm covered in clothes. I have hangers hanging off of me. Well, I'm laughing. I'm laughing. Well, now my girls, they can see me because I'm standing in front of them. They start to laugh, and we're trying to get through this routine, and I'm just laughing as I'm picking clothes off of me, trying to get back into the steps. When we finished the routine, people are clapping. People were laughing, and I was like, oh my gosh. Now, when I look back at that, I thought, my gosh, here was something that I was in charge of. I put myself in a situation, and I had probably the worst thing could possibly happen, while you're the person in charge. And I laughed it off, and my friends laughed it off. And people, it was funny, they didn't come back. It was probably our best business venture we had, because people didn't sign up because we were a fitness center, because it was like the fitness center.
Yes.
They signed up because it was funny. They enjoyed themselves. They laughed. And you know what? That's what you need to do. You're going to take a risk, and you've got to learn to laugh at yourself, because when we put limitations on ourselves, or we put fears on ourselves, or we say we don't want to do something, you know what? There's always going to be mistakes, and there's going to be things that are going to happen, and you just got to move on from it and laugh. Laugh at yourself. Learn to laugh at yourself, and it makes things so much lighter and so much more fun. And you'll find that these limitations are just so minor compared to the joy that you can get out of things by just going out and taking a risk.
Well, it's a bit like being a radio presenter, It's sometimes good to make mistakes, little errors, little faux pas, because it brings a different textural feel to the show. It makes it more humorous rather than what I would say the BBC radio talk where everything is all perfect and proper, etc. Here is very laid back, very California, I'm afraid. The show is anyway, but it is fabulous. And in fact, I did have to some degree a fear of flying. I didn't want to not get me up in one of those things, no way. But in the end, I was asked to go over to go on a plane, or to go over to to Belgium. And so I just booked the plane, booked the flight, etc., and just went. And then realised when I got to the airport, hang on a minute, you're going to have to get in that plane over there. And I just got in, forgot all about it, sat in there, did meet friends on the plane, which was a great help. But that's it, done it. And it was, ever since then, I've loved flying, no problem at all. But easy for me, isn't it?
That's great. No, well, no, because you know what, you had to take a step and do something that you were afraid of. When you finally realized, oh my gosh, this is, I'm okay with this. This is okay. Wasn't it like just a relief? You almost like exhaled out all that fear. It was like, okay, I'm okay with this. This is good.
It was. I thought, well, what was all the fuss all about? But that's what life is like, and you have these challenges in life, and you have to sometimes go around them. Sometimes you can jump over them. Sometimes you have to go underneath them, don't you, Mikki?
It's funny. I always say, don't put up walls around you. When you put up those walls with limitations, you can't really grow beyond them. We're not meant to live in a box. That's why the world is round.
I like that. Well, it is. You're quite right. Yeah. I thought it was flat. Oh, Mikki.
Well, even so, you can still go forward.
Yes, you can go backwards as well, yeah. Oh. Well, it's been absolutely fabulous, and it's the first of several to come. Is there anything else you want to wind up this particular opening opus? That's all, please, Mikki?
Yes, you know what, I would say if I could have anything to say for people to take forward from here, is don't worry about what other people think. The reality is a lot of times they want it. They want to do the same thing too, and they're afraid. I think when you take the initiative to do it, it sets an example. whether it's for your family, your coworkers, your friends, and you know, you take that first step. And not only that, it creates more joy for yourself. You know, learn to laugh at yourself, you know, and laugh with other people. You know, when you laugh at yourself, you know, I mean, the world laughs with you. And right?
Well, start looking in the mirror, isn't it?
This is true. And what am I afraid of? Ask yourself, what am I afraid of, and is it real? You know, is it real, and why not? And then, you know, take the little steps. You know, try something new. You know, take a different way home. Try new food. Go after a job. You know, anything that you have put your limitations on that you weren't sure. And, you know, and I would say I embrace your comments, your stories, and, you know, you can always contact us through Hawke Friends. And again, you know, the most important thing is, you know, the most courageous thing you can do is be yourself. Be yourself. And Lady Hawke, I would love for you to translate the most courageous thing you can do is be yourself in Danish, because I have loved listening to you do the weather. So can you would you wrap that up for me?
The most courageous thing you can do is to be yourself. Was that, yeah. Det modigste, du kan gøre i denne verden, er at være dig selv. I think that's what comes closest to it, you know.
I love it. I love it.
Quote, unquote, yes. Oh. Well, thanks, Mikki. Any idea what, of course, if people want to know what the next one is in April, they can look on to Hawke Friends, or they can go to your own website. Was it www.mikkisaintgermain.com?
That's correct. Yep. That would be fun. Thank you so much. I've had so much fun. I'm looking forward to the next one.
So are we.
So we haven't got a clue what it's going to be. So we have the fear and surprise and fear. Yeah. Okay, Mikki. You have a lovely Saturday evening and enjoy your family company. Now the agony is over.
And I'm looking forward to your blues. I'm looking forward to your blues section. I'm definitely going to be enjoying that. So thank you so much.
That's not very far away. Only about half an hour away. So yeah, don't go anywhere. Thank you, Mikki Saint-Germain. It's been fabulous. Want to finish anything off in Danish for?
No, not anymore.
Okay. Well, we will be prepared for that on Opus 2. Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you. Stay on the line. I'll quick word with you off air, but thanks very much, Mikki Germain. And I think we're going to have a bit of Robert Schroeder, a bit upbeat. Here we go.